Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. It is me, Alex on Politics, back with my second YouTube video on this channel, my new channel for long form content. And today I want to talk about a story which is currently going a bit under the radar, obviously with everything that's been happening over the last week or so. And it is to do with one of the main party leaders in the UK, of Reform UK, Nigel Farage. And it is about this sort of scandal, but not really. It's like a sort of issue he's having to do with stamp duty and a new house that he's bought. And I'm basically just going to go over what's going on there and what the potential outcomes are. I mean, all of that jazz. So, of course, guys, if you do want to see more of this content and you like it, make sure to like and subscribe. We're about to hit 250 subscribers on this channel. We're on the road to 2,000 followers on TikTok. And any joiner of the channel is greatly appreciated. So, the story starts in November 2024. When Nigel Farage bought a house in Clacton for around £900,000 and claiming that that was going to be his residency for the next 4 years as he serves as an MP for Clacton, as well as trying to, put aside all of the rumours that he wasn't living there and he wasn't actually serving his constituents. So he initially claimed that he bought the house outright himself, or at least that he'd exchanged some contracts for the ownership of the house. However, he's now said that he was wrong about that, and it is his partner, Laura Ferrari, that actually bought the house in her name, and that she is the legal owner, and that he only said it was him who owns the house for security reasons. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky, because people were saying, well, why didn't you just say that it was her owning the house in the first place, rather than him, especially seeing as if the house was in his name, the second house, he would have to pay an additional £40,000 of stamp duty, because of an additional house that he'd bought under the same legal name. But because he's now put it in her name, or maybe potentially he'd already had it in her name from the start and he made a mistake, but if it was in her name, she would have to pay a lower rate of stamp duty, and people think that this could have been his way of just trying to get out of paying the stamp duty and the extra tax. That's because she doesn't own any other UK property. There's no property that's in her, in her name. Now, Farage has now said that the property and the funds are both completely in her name now, that he's played no part whatsoever in the purchase of the house, in any of the contracts, or the ownership of it right now. And his legal team have had advice from a King's Counsel, someone who's helping them with their case, and they've said that they've found no underpayment of tax or of the stamp duty, and that it had been calculated correctly and there was no evidence of tax avoidance. Now, there are a few problems, because if Farage had contributed towards the purchase of the house, for example, through a gift or a loan, then even though the property is in his partner's name, he might be deemed to have what's called beneficial interest, which can affect how the law treats the rollout of the stamp duty for that house. And the truthfulness of the claim that Ferrari had the funds to make the purchase herself without any input from Farage is quite concerning when you consider that French authorities, where she's from, have deemed that her family's business was liquidated a few years back. Therefore, it wouldn't suggest that she had any money to be given to her for the purchase of that house, which makes things a lot more confusing. Because her response was that her family helped her pay for it because they're wealthy and they own businesses in France. And the other problem is that Farage sought legal advice after he had bought the house, which is weird because if there was no financial involvement from him, I don't know why he had to be so concerned about involving the authorities and having a legal team on his side in case he had to fight something. Now, this isn't the first stamp duty case we've had in the last month. We look at the former Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner, who had a similar issue, that she didn't pay her extra, or she avoided paying the extra stamp duty on her house that she bought in Brighton, and that led to her resignation. So this is becoming a bit of an issue now with high-profile MPs and this accusations of tax avoidance on houses. But as of right now, there's no conclusive public evidence that any money has come from Farage himself, and there are a few investigations going into what actually happened there, but there is no conclusive evidence yet. Now, in my personal view, having read all of this, I would like every MP and every politician, especially high-profile ones, to be as transparent as possible about what they do with the public money that they're given by us. I mean, they're the ones that are going to be making decisions that will affect our lives, so I'd like to know whether they're breaking the law in some way or another, or avoiding paying certain things that they're supposed to. And I'd like them to be fully transparent and fully honest with the public, especially after how Nigel Farage himself actually pressured Angela Rayner into potentially resigning, saying that high-profile MPs shouldn't be the subject of tax avoidance. And I think that if he has given funds, then I think that something must be compensated to the stamp duty or to the SDLT, because he still had a significant involvement, especially when you consider that Her wife apparently doesn't seem to have the funds to do that. That's not been concluded yet. But I do think that he needs to be transparent about what has happened here. Whether I think that much is going to come from this, I don't. I think this is just going to be something where he might apologise for it, but nothing will happen. I don't think it's going to, I very much doubt it's going to lead to a resignation or a big scandal for him. I think that, you know, he'll end up paying some tax, or he'll end up just making a statement and saying, I was wrong, all of this, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's kind of what I think on that. But it's still a very, very weird case as to why you'd seek legal advice after buying a house which you don't think there was a problem with when you bought it. But regardless of that, that's kind of what's been happening with him. And it's kind of a news story that has gone under the radar. But if he has broken the law or not paid the or he has avoided tax, he should pay the tax. He should apologise, and there should be reparations for that, because we want our politicians to be as transparent as possible and as truthful as possible, and we want as little corruption as we can get in politics, which is pretty hard these days. That's kind of my view on this, and that's kind of that story. Of course, if you did enjoy that, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, what you think should happen to Nigel Farage, whether you think he's done it, and we can get that conversation going. But of course, guys, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed my content and want to see more. This is the long form content that I will be posting, as opposed to my short form on TikTok. So yeah, I will see you in the next video.